less.
Hi Marcelo. We're doing it. We're leaving that. That's the intro. Welcome to Trash Talk.
I was kind of waiting for you to say it because you said it the past two times.
Did you not catch when I said, okay, you did the intro?
I don't think I did. Nope, because I didn't do the intro last time.
We're going to start switching off on intros at this point.
Okay.
So let's just put some diversity in there.
Alrighty. Sorry for that little mini tangent we had there. So today we're talking about Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
We're just going to keep it. If you haven't noticed, there's a pattern, and we started this last year as well. I think I did a game first, and I think it was Crash, and then we went from there. We flip-flopped between games we wanted to cover. So we're doing it this year, and it started with you. So I did the last one with Spyro. Now it's your turn. Go for it.
Okay, so Sekiro Heroes Die Twice is the most recent game announced.
Say Heroes Die Twice? I think it was
Shadows.
Oh.
I'm skipping ahead games, I'm sorry. It's been like a year since we've done anything like this.
It's been a while.
Bad. So, sorry if I'm kind of just like...
Thank God this is not one of the structured arcs.
Oh God, imagine how terrible that would be. So anyway, this is the most recent game being produced by From Software, and I'm super fucking happy about that shit. Oh my goodness.
Just keep slapping your foot more, do it again.
my foot's starting to hurt now.
Good job.
So yeah, no. A lot of people were saying that it was gonna be like Bloodborne 2 from the teaser, because like it looked like it was gonna be like Bloodborne-esque. But then like a lot of people were saying like, oh no, it's not gonna be Bloodborne 2 because there's like kanji and all that stuff. So a lot of people were saying that it was a different ninja game that was made from Software a while ago. And so, like, a lot of people were speculating, but it's a new IP, and I'm super fucking happy that it's a new IP. I'm kind of in a minority group that kind of says, don't do what you did to Dark Souls and make, like, a sequel, because, personally, I like, keep Bloodborne its own little special snowflake, because it deserves to be it. It deserves to be, like, its own special little thing.
Initially, you said you kind of were looking forward to a sequel.
I know, I was, but then I kind of like, it's kind of like a thing I flip-flop. It's like, it's just like, I really want more Bloodborne, but at the same time, Dark Souls 2.
If they were to do it at any point, even after this game, I think they've learned at this point.
They learned, and to be fair,
2.
I give Dark Souls 2 a lot of shit. I'm probably one of the biggest people to give it shit, and a lot of people do give Dark Souls 2 a bit more credit than I probably feel like it deserves. But that's my opinion. That's my bias. Yeah. I don't think it took me a long time to get into Dark Souls 2. Like, it took me 5 attempts and over 100 hours before it started to click with me.
Before you were like,
you know what? I'm actually starting to like this game because like I started realizing things like after multiple playthroughs, like it's finally clicking with me. And then even then, fuck the ice horses, fuck that level. That's when I quit. One more boss I had to defeat, but that area is so fucking cancerous. Fuck that area. And fuck Dark Souls 2 for having that as DLC. Paid DLC, nonetheless.
All that good old paid DLC.
If I wanted to pay to get disease and shit, I would just I would just go to Thailand and get a disease cooker. And that would be a lot more fun to do than to play through that shit.
Sekiro!
So, anyway.
Shadows Die Twice.
Back to Sekiro. Sekiro looks like a fucking interesting game. It looks cool. They're already kind of departing from that Souls-like combat a little bit.
It looks familiar enough to where big fans like you
there are
don't
some
get too
familiar
lost.
elements to it, like the way he opens the door like this. It's like
spiritual.
That is Dark Souls animation right there, and the way the world looks too. Yeah. It looks very Dark Souls-ish.
Spiritually, it kind of has the.
It has that, but there's some new stuff, especially that whole mobility, the way he's able to lasso up and climb up certain things. That's never been seen in a Dark Souls game, and that leads to new possibilities about gameplay.
Yeah.
So basically the story is you are a shinobi and you're trying to protect your lord. Some random asshole samurai comes by, cuts your arm off, and then takes your lord away. And you're all bummed out until like this homeless guy, who's also I believe to be a Buddhist priest, who's doing some sculpting, is like, oh hey, you survived and you have this cool new robotic arm and shit that you can do cool stuff with. Go have fun. Go save your lord. And basically, there's some information about that arm and what you do. So basically, it has like that trick weapon feel with like how the weapon like from Bloodborne transforms. But it has like a certain attachment that you're able to pull off with the arm, so it's like equipable items with it. So one is like, if you've seen from the trailer, like it pulls out like an axe from like up higher up on the arm and all that stuff, and you can use that axe to break down like shields and all that stuff, or like that circular shield that you're able to create that blocks attacks and all that stuff. Or near the end of the trailer, where like that horse boss comes in with that knight on the horse, and like you spray like flashbangs and all that stuff on the ground, and the horse goes like, "Holy fuck!" And then you go like, "I'm gonna kill this thing," and all that stuff. Or the grappling hook. Oh my god, there's so much cool shit. I'm hoping they give you like a bunch of different things for that arm, just to approach different things. It's like, oh, maybe for this level I want to use the grappling hook for more mobile pursuits and all that stuff, just to get higher ground and stealth kill enemies and all that stuff. Or I'm going to be a little bit more offensive, so I'm going to use the axe to break down some of those shields and get rid of those guys and all that stuff. Just bringing up like different types of utility with the combat and all that. And then the bosses look really fucking cool too.
Cameron's dying. Bosses, go.
Alright, so a lot of the bosses look really fucking cool. I'm kind of hoping that the guy in chains was a boss.
He looked like it.
He looked like it, or he looked like an above average enemy.
Yeah.
By the way, Suplex City out of 10. That looked painful as shit.
That was fun.
And the way like he just flings you off the arena and shit.
Alright, see you later.
It's like, later you cunt bag. Yeah. Sorry for the heavy profanities. I'm just super excited for this game. Holy shit.
Is there anything else that caught your eye with this title?
The story looks interesting, and like since it's going for a little bit more of a structured story, more than like in Dark Souls where it's kind of vague and you have to kind of put in the pieces. But the coolest thing about this is it's not the game that's based around like Dark Souls or whatever. There's another game coming out. They're doing 3 games, and this is kind of the more of the game that's deviating from what they normally do. Like Miyazaki's like, you know what? I'm tired of doing Dark Souls. Let's do fucking something else.
Let's say it, because while we were saying earlier, that there's still some of those similarities, just for the sake of, because it's them and that's just their style, it looks faster paced, it looks a bit more fluid than Dark Souls pretty much was. And again, this is good for someone who's never played. I've only played a bit of what we did for video games, and that was it. And a little bit of Bloodborne casually when he first showed it to me, and that was about it. But just from seeing it alone, like you can tell when you're analytical in the sense of you can kind of you've been around enough to really figure out how games kind of just work and how certain people make their brands and kinds of games, and you can see when something's similar and when something's not. You don't have to be a fan to really see that. And just by seeing the trailer, it looks, because there's gameplay bits in that trailer, it looks like it's going to be more newcomers to anything from might be able to play this and really get into it more than the toughest nails, hardest balls, we make jokes from it all the time, you're dead kind of Dark Souls style, you know? So
yeah, no, and it looks interesting, and like the kind of the way you revive in the game too, just from like the way the trailer looked, you could get like a second life, and like the boss is just kind of walking away, and then like you get like a second life, you get reborn and all that stuff. And then, so I don't know if that's like a thing you can activate like during the fight, or that just
seeing
happens.
as it's called Shadows Die Twice, I'm pretty sure having another continuation after your initial death, however that's going to play out, if it's a mechanic, that's probably going to be a theme.
That probably is good. So how would you balance? I'm kind of worried about like how they would balance that, because then that would make bosses kind of, I feel like that would make bosses a bit easier, especially if you got close like your first try. Because that happens to me a lot. I'll get pretty close my first time fighting a boss, and then like after that first attempt, I'm probably gonna be spending like a few other attempts, not even getting like half health, and just constantly fucking up and shit, just trying to get that groove back before I finally beat the boss and all that stuff. Until like to the point where I can beat most bosses like first try, after kind of being like experiencing that boss like hundreds and hundreds of times. Like it's like, I know how this boss works now. I know what he's gonna fucking do. I'm ready.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they're gonna pull that off. And then I don't know. I'm kind of hoping there's gonna be some really cool things in that game.
What do you think of the particular period that it's set in? Like,
actually, yeah, no, I do, and it's actually takes place during the 12th, 13th century. So around that time period.
Okay.
Where like, you know, like Japan was very, very hectic during that time period, and even past that into the 15th century, in which that's where Neo takes place during that time. But it's kind of more like, a lot of games cover that period of time, like the 15th century. So Nero was definitely not the first game to do that. There are so many other games that cover that era in Japanese history, just because that was a pretty well-documented time in history, and a lot of stuff was going on. There's like a lot of fighting between the clans and all that stuff. Not a lot of people cover earlier periods, like Sekiro's doing, which is pretty interesting and is really cool. And there are some historical elements in all that, because like the commander, like, you know, the guy that cuts off like the main character's arm at the beginning of the game, his name is based off of an old clan that died off during the period where Sekiro takes place. So it's very historically,
it's grasping from
it's based around history a little bit,
inspired.
But obviously there wasn't any giant snake demons or giant centipede demons and all that stuff kind of roaming around.
If there was, it'd be amazing.
That would be cool. It would make that would make life a lot more interesting, and actually make those ghost shows a lot more legitimate. But sadly, we don't live in that world, and
in the Sekiro world,
where people die from demons all the time. That's lame. Our world's lame. We just get killed by drunks and all that stuff. Where's my giant Oni that's gonna crush my face in?
And we're not talking about Chris O'Neill. But anyway, so is there anything else you can possibly mention, really quick?
Yeah, no, the game looks fun, and
Expectations.
Expectations. I'm hoping it's still as hard as Dark Souls and all that. I hope there's still gonna be a challenge, and I hope, since they're introducing a little bit more verticality with it, I'm hoping that there's enemies that utilize more of that kind of same deal themselves. And I'm hoping the enemies are gonna be pretty varied too, because if you're fighting Japanese Oni and all that stuff, I'm hoping like you get to face those along with regular people as well. Not like Nero, which the problem with Nero is that the enemy variety in the game was so badly done. You would just end up fighting the same enemies over and over again in every fucking level. That game was bad for that. But sadly, this ain't Neo 2.
Which is a thing, yeah.
Which is a thing. but it was only it was slightly better than the Elder Scrolls 6 showing. At least they had like somewhat of a CGI trailer that was like a minute or two long before they said, "Oh hey, Neo 2." And that was it. So overall, I'm hoping there's a pretty good enemy variety. I'm hoping that there's gonna be some beautiful, beautiful landscapes in which to do battle in and all that stuff.
It looks really nice, yeah, visually.
And yeah,
aesthetically, it's awesome because of where it's set. Visually, it looks really cool too. So like,
yeah, and I'm hoping like the bosses, for sure, are gonna be dope as shit. Because that's one thing that Dark Souls does very well most of the time. Sans Dark Souls 2, most of the bosses were shit.
Yeah, no, so for you, it looks promising.
Yes, it looks very promising. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5.
Okay.
It looks cool. It looks dope as shit. Can't wait to play it. Let me play it now.
Yeah, this was not one that was there to play, as far as I know. Yeah.
No, they just revealed it.
Yeah.
During E3, like officially. So.
Yeah, since it was one of those ones where I was like, okay, it's cool. I don't know if I'm gonna get into it just yet. I want to see more gameplay to see if what I'm saying is true. Like, yeah, it's faster paced. It's not going to be as. It'll probably still keep some Souls-esque difficulty, but just as long as they don't make it that tedious of every enemy's going to just kill you outright. There it is, because that turned me off to Dark Souls a lot. We'll see where it goes. So I'll probably give it. I was gonna say 3.5. It's between a 3.5 and a 4. I don't really know. Fuck it, I'll say 4 just for now. We'll see. It could either dip or go up, so we'll see. With more stuff that's shown, if we ever go over it again, or if we go over it for the update after Arc 7, we'll see. So, anything else? Last minute. Is that it?
No, we're good.
I'm Marcel.
And I'm horny. For Sekiro.
This is Trash Talk. See you guys in the next one.
Need to rub one out real fast.
Okay, we're done.